Welcome to the Way We See It podcast.
where we talk about politics, social justice, and culture.
I'm Tati,
And I'm Ariana.
and we are your host of this podcast. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Way We See It podcast, episode 57. It's been a long week, but we're back with another episode. I'm Tati, if you're new here, and this is Ariana.
What's up?
And so this week's topic, we're talking about the new mayor of New York City, which is Eric Adams. But before we get into that topic, we're just gonna catch up with you guys. And if you're new here, make sure you check out our socials. We're on Instagram and Twitter at The Way We See It with a C. You can also search us on Google if you're having trouble listening to us. If you can't find our socials for whatever reason, they'll pull up on Google if you type in The Way We See It. You'll also find our website that we have. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell button so you guys get notified every week when we drop an episode. So, yeah, what have you been up to, Ariana? Tell the listeners.
Well, I just came back from vacation a couple days ago. I went to the Dominican Republic with my friends and my brother, and we had a great time. I just finished showing Tati all the videos I took and pictures that we took. And
it was an hour-long video.
It was an hour long. It was a lot of content.
But I enjoyed it. It was nice.
Yeah, I had a blast. It was nice being under that hot sun. Not being here in the cold.
Yeah, facts.
And swimming in the warm water. Yeah, it was a great trip. Everything went good. Nothing bad happened. It was a safe trip. And we all came back healthy and everything. So
I'm glad.
Yeah.
The video made me feel like I was there with them, and then plus you could just see how much fun they were having in the videos. So it made me happy. And what's called now, I'm low-key, my first regret of 2022 is not going on that trip, low-key. So, because you guys planned the trip in August.
Yeah, in August.
And I was like, I don't know if I can just go ahead, and now, first regret of 2020, look. But anyways, yeah. And then for further news, I finally got an acceptance letter, guys, to school. So starting tomorrow, actually, Ariana's starting her last and final semester of college, getting her master's. Yeah, grad school, guys. And then I'm starting now school for my bachelor's degree, so undergraduate at Queens College. So I was gonna say, should I say, should I not? They know we're from New York, so it doesn't matter.
Queens College is a big campus, so.
Yeah, and it's Queens. You're not gonna really see me.
So we're CUNY students now.
Yeah. So yeah, we're excited. I'm turning 21 in 2 more months. Ariana's turning 25 next month. We lit. So yeah, that's pretty much what we had to fill you guys in. We have 3 more episodes until season 3 ends. So we're not gonna be on the podcast until after my 21st. I'm pretty sure once, season 4 is a 2-month break is what we usually do.
My birthday's in 2 weeks, so.
Yeah, so we'll be finishing up the podcast on your birthday. But for my birthday, we'll be done.
So before we talk about Eric Adams, New York City mayor, there was a recent tragedy that happened here in New York City, and we wanted to acknowledge that in our episode. So on Friday, January 21st, 2 NYPD cops were shot and killed by a civilian after responding to an emergency call. So we want to say rest in peace to Jason Rivera, who was 22 years old, and Wilbert Mora, who was 27 years old. And we want to send our condolences to families and friends and all the other officers that worked with these 2 young men.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, so moment of silence. Yeah, that I didn't even know about it because, as you guys know, I've done my social media cleanse. I don't really. I mean, I was gonna say this into why I wanted to talk about this week's topic, anyways, but I'm not really into what's going on in the news. Like, I haven't searched on Google current events. I'm just stuck in my head focused on my life. So if I hear about anything, it's from Ariana or somebody else is telling me. So, yeah, it is a sad event that happened, and Ariana showed me a clip of
the funeral.
Yeah, for one of the funerals that just happened this week. The next one is next week, and there was we've never seen so many cops in one sitting.
Yeah.
So it was a lot, but yeah, rest in peace to those that died, and sending our love to the families that are grieving right now. But getting into this week's topic now. So why did we want to talk about this, Ariana? You can say your side first.
Well, I knew Eric Adams before he became mayor. I knew he was the Brooklyn borough's president.
I didn't know. I feel like we talked about him maybe once.
He said something about something we were talking about. Maybe we can look it up.
We talked about him maybe for a current event.
Maybe look it up in the search as I'm talking. So I learned earlier this year, January 1st, he became the New York City mayor. So de Blasio, he's out, afuera. And I think it'd just be a good opportunity to learn about the New York City mayor. They make a lot of decisions when it comes to the city. Although we don't live in the city, but we do go to the school in the city, so it does affect us. I work in the city, so it affects me. Mm-hmm. She'll probably eventually work in the city
soon.
So even though we not live in the city, it still affects us because we go to school and work there. It's just hopefully you guys get to learn about the mayor too. Most of our listeners are from New York anyways.
I typed in Eric Adams into the search bar and it says episode 1.
Oh my god. Episode 1?
There's no way.
So our first episode was about voting.
I didn't know.
Oh my god.
What the flip? So we were talking about New York City fireworks first episode as a current event. And we were talking about how during those fireworks, there were so many, it was like to hide people that are basically dying or something, gunshots, whatever. And we said that Eric Adams, Brooklyn Borough president, put out a statement to not report the fireworks to avoid heavy-handed policing. Instead tell the people who are using the fireworks to stop. I knew I recognized his name.
That's crazy. Episode 1.
Wow.
We were talking about him as when he was Brooklyn Borough president. Now he's mayor in episode 57. Yeah. Wow. Moving on up.
Word. And so I also want to discuss it because when de Blasio was removed, that was the last thing I was expecting. I still remember seeing on the news about the rumors, because it was de Blasio, right? Not Cuomo.
Cuomo was the governor.
Yeah, but who was the one that had the assault and harassment?
Oh, Cuomo.
Cuomo, yeah. Not de Blasio. I thought it was both of them.
I only know about Cuomo. I haven't.
Okay, I be mixing them up. Yeah. Sometimes they look alike too. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But I wasn't expecting it for a while. I guess I don't know. But because from when I was younger to now, when I started paying attention to the news and politics and whatever, those were the two faces I always saw: Cuomo and de Blasio. So and so when he was removed, is the last thing I expected, and since I've been doing my social media cleanse, like I said, I have no clue about what's going on in the world unless someone fills me in or I look for it in the search engine. So I think if there's other people out there that relate to my situation right now, this would help the both of us to see what's going on, who exactly Eric Adams is, and what he's doing for New Yorkers right now, in the city specifically, the 5 boroughs.
Yeah, the 5 boroughs. So who is Eric Adams? He was born in Brooklyn, New York. He's actually from Brownsville. On September 1st, 1960, and he's currently 61 years old. He's a New Yorker, born and raised, and he went to some schools that you may have heard of before: Marist College and John Jay for Criminal Justice.
Interesting. When I saw the Marist College, I was surprised because that was one of the first schools I really wanted to go to. And then John Jay, I feel like everybody knows John Jay.
Marist College is up here. That's in Poughkeepsie.
Yeah. So I was surprised when I saw that.
That's
part.
close where I went to college. It's like 20 minutes.
Yeah. He served in the New York City Police Department as a cop, obviously. For 22 years, he was a New York State Senator from 2006 to 2013. He was the Brooklyn Borough President, like Ariana said, from 2013 to 2021. He also represents the Democratic Party and was officially sworn in as the 110th Mayor of New York City, January 1st, 2022. Keeping in mind that he is now the 110th Mayor, he's also the only person...
The second mayor?
Mayor history to be black. So the second one.
Second one.
Yeah, out of 110
Wow.
mayors, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
he has a lot of background. Like,
yeah,
he was a cop, senator, Brooklyn Borough president. Like, that's a lot of.
I was looking at his
background.
salary. His salary was crazy these last few years.
But his pension must be.
Yep. I was looking at how much he made in each of these positions. I'm like, damn, he's a baller. Maybe we should look for positions. Forget our careers. Being a politician gives you at least 6 figures alone. Jesus. Just stating your opinion. For real. So, what are his goals that he plans to focus on? During Adams' race to become mayor, he spoke about what he'd like to do for New Yorkers if to be elected, which involved, according to NPR.org, he made combating gun violence and improving public safety a main focus of his campaign, while also calling for cuts to the NYPD's budget and shifting of some jobs to civilians that had been done by officers, which he says could have saved the city up to $500 million a year. Following a worrisome surge in shootings, why can't I speak? Following a worrisome surge in shootings not seen since the 1990s, Adams says he'd like to reestablish a controversial plainclothes anti-crime unit that was dismantled by de Blasio just last year. He would also increase patrols at train and bus stations. Yeah, the anti-crime unit, they said, they were comparing it to an anti-gun unit, which is, I believe that I don't remember what's it called. So don't take this as a fact, guys. This is me just trying to recall from my memory. So in case you guys search it up, aka new listeners. But if I recall, they were saying that basically the anti-crime unit was to like not resort to like guns, I guess, basically. And he was like planning to use this unit to help like with prisoners and Rikers.
Okay.
Yeah, so like you really see their camera footage that they have on them, try to result to anything but guns being used. And if I recall correctly, I saw that he had like, actually no, I'll say that for later.
Okay.
Because it fits into one of the bullet points. So continuing, in addition to this, he also mentions making it a requirement for new and current officers to live in one of the 5 boroughs. And my assumption on this is to bring maybe more people back to New York City, since so many people left because of how expensive it is, and not to mention the taxes, and to maybe make the borough safer by having more cops, maybe.
Can I say mine?
Yeah.
I think it's just so like the cops have experience of what it's like living in the city.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, I don't know how to explain this. Yeah, it's just for like experience, you know, like
To
if
gain
you just
your
live in the
experience?
suburbs your whole life, you're not gonna really know like much about the city life.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe you'd be less prejudiced or something. I don't know. I think that's his hope of just to gain experience of what it's like living in the city.
Mm.
But again, like I'm pretty sure a cop is not gonna live in the freaking hood.
Yeah.
So there are nice parts in the city that's not like in a high crime place. So.
But my assumption really is though maybe like to get more people into the 5 boroughs again, because look, a lot of people moved here upstate, a lot of people are moving to New Jersey out because like they'll live in New Jersey but they work here in the city, you know what I'm saying? So it's just because things are cheaper up here and out of the state these days, and it's like, who knows, maybe that's the reason.
And people realize in the pandemic that they don't want to like live that city life. They want to live in they can go outside and breathe fresh air, you know what I mean? And being cramped up in an apartment during like the lockdown, I could imagine how tough that would have been for
Same, my mother in her house, Jesus.
So.
She's already gone through. Other things that he had obviously mentioned, you know, since he was in a campaign to be mayor, he had to discuss things such as COVID, how he planned on handling COVID with schools, and providing jobs for, since a lot of people lost their jobs during the pandemic, he also focused on a lot of jobs, creative jobs. So what has he done for New York since his term started?
So he stated in November, when he officially won the election, that it will be a mayor that gets stuff done. He's also well known that one of Adams' first acts as mayor was to make his brother, who's a retired cop, deputy police commissioner. Although his wishes came true, it wasn't for long, since there was a lot of debate over this topic. And in this article written by the NYC, they mentioned a New York law that explains why this was being discussed in the first place. And the article says, New York City law prohibits public servants from using or attempting to use their positions to obtain a financial gain, which understandable because it would be like a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
For themselves or close associates, including siblings. The law allows for the hiring of siblings if the conflicts of interest board determines that the position would not be in conflict with the purposes and interests of the city. So yeah, Eric Adams' brother did not become deputy commissioner due to the law. It would be conflicts of interest. Instead, he is now a director of mayoral security, which still makes money. But you were gonna say something?
Oh yeah, so it's still like a big thing of controversy because even though his brother has experience in the field as a cop, you know, he is also retired. They also say like, what it's like a resume, like what in his resume, his criteria does he have to like be in such a high position like that, besides just being his brother. And they were arguing how it's an abuse of power, even though it's not that serious. But then it brings on the topic, because he mentions, I wouldn't have anybody else in the police department, he's like, I wouldn't trust anybody else more than my brother to protect my life, because that position is to protect him, make sure that they know the cops are being around him as a mayor, to make sure he gets home safely,
Okay.
So it was an issue with that, because it was like him being a police officer for 22 years, it sounds like he doesn't have much trust in the police department. And it was like, is there something you know that we don't, Mr. Adams? So then they also get into the topics how he had a few cases in like the 90s, I believe, how he was involved in a shooting or something of the sort. Like he wasn't a shooter.
I see. He was in uniform?
Huh?
When he was in uniform?
Yeah. Oh. And when he was a cop, and in like the case or something, he accused the cop of like another cop of like shooting and like, I don't know, messing up a car or something like that. I don't know. He said things were really out of control back then too, or something of the sort. So, but basically, like, he always like showed what we see now with the cops, you know, like sometimes that they're not on our side, sometimes they overdo acts of violence, overuse their power. So that's what it sounded like he was saying, they were saying.
He's also known for like being outspoken, so
yeah.
But yeah, when I was reading the notes that Tati wrote, like, I was just surprised that he wanted to do this like from the beginning. Like, it hasn't made a week yet and he's saying he wants to put his brother on, which I get. You want to put your family on, you're a big position in the city and stuff. But I feel like he could have waited. Like,
but he needs to get permission from the council to even have his brother in that position.
Okay.
And the request for approval didn't go in until January 5th, 7th, and his brother started the job December 30th. So it was like, yeah, that's why everybody was like, okay. And even if the council does approve or doesn't approve, like, the mayor doesn't have to listen to them, you know? And they even mentioned, like, small examples, like how even Mayor de Blasio, like, he had his wife and as, like, head of some foundations and everything that took care of his health, I believe, or something like that. And it's like, what are we gonna do about these mayors, like, placing their family and loved ones in these high positions, like, getting all this money that I guess, you know, could go to somebody else who's been working harder for it their whole life, you know? But I mean, that's the perk of...
I guess I get it. Like, they're just trying to make as much money as possible in the family as they have this high position, so...
Yeah. And, you know, because, like, I feel like because they are from New York, like even Eric Adams, he says he has the blue collar, like, story. Like, he comes from a poor family, poor background, whatever. And I feel like just being a New Yorker, like, we've all struggled, like, some kind of way. Like, we know, like, what it means to, like, be in a bad area to then some of us actually get into a middle class area or actually move up, you know? And I feel like once you get access to all these benefits and, like, these good resources, it's a good feeling. Like, obviously you want to take advantage of it when you were raised.
Yeah.
You maybe didn't have that much access to it. So I completely get that. I hope I said that correctly. You know what I'm saying?
I get it, yeah.
So, then continuing, on Tuesday, January 4th, less than a week, Eric Adams was appointed as New York City mayor. He made a controversial comment on low-skilled workers. He said on quote-unquote,
This is exactly what he said.
okay, my low-skilled workers, my cooks, my dishwashers, my messengers, my shoe shine people, those who work at Dunkin' Donuts, they don't have the academic skills to sit in a corner office.
Yeah, he said that. So he made this comment as he was talking about that remote workers should start working in person to help small businesses thrive. And another quote, he said, if I remotely do my job, then the store clerk is not going to be able to have the business he deserves. That's what I want for people to understand. And he was doing this in an hour-long news conference where he signed this executive order to help, like, small businesses make sure they don't get fined and stuff, because we all know that the pandemic has affected small businesses poorly. So yeah, so a lot of people, like, gave him backlash because he was calling people who work, I guess, minimum wage jobs low skilled workers, and many politicians responded to his comment, and even AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she put a statement on Twitter, and she said, the suggestion that any job is low skill is a myth, perpetrated by wealthy interests to justify inhumane working conditions, little/no health care, and low wages. Plus, being a waitress has made me and many others better at our jobs than those who have never known that life. Period.
That's my twin, guys. I don't know if you ever saw that trend where, like, your face morphs into somebody famous, but I did that one time and it was her face, Alexandria. But yo, I swear, being a politician must be the hardest thing. Like, just you breathing, any comment, they're on you. Word, because I mean, like, I agree with what she said.
Yeah.
Ocasio.
Yeah.
AOC.
And that's crazy because I remember in school we used to learn in social studies that term, low skilled workers.
Yeah.
I don't know, like,
I'm a low skilled worker, I guess.
But it shouldn't be called low skilled worker.
Yeah.
Like, just because you work, like, in retail, you're a waitress, you're a chef, or you wash dishes, doesn't mean like you're low skill. You have
doesn't mean I'm incompetent at working.
You have marketing skills, customer service skills as a person who works in retail.
Exactly.
If you're a cook, you know how to, like, make meals fast, especially work in the city. You gotta get them orders in during
facts.
rush hour and stuff.
Multitasking.
Like in each job, there's a skill. There's no low skill, nothing. Like
yeah, what's it called? Yeah, I do agree.
Mm-hmm.
Because even it's not like I'm a low skill worker because, like you said, I work in retail, but I also am building these skills to help me also into my future career. And then what? I'm still a low skill worker because I worked in retail and now I'm a teacher, I guess.
And there's people with degrees who work low minimum jobs because they can't find jobs after college, after being in debt of trying to invest in education. Like,
yeah, word. You know what? A little bit off the topic. I saw a TikTok the other day of this girl saying she does waitressing, and her pay from that, while also being in school, pays for her rent. Since when does waitressing give you enough money
like a
to
big
pay for
restaurant company?
No, I can't be a waitress. That's too much for me. And then getting into his response towards COVID cases. So one thing that Eric Adams has stated is that he does still want to make it mandated to get the vaccine, and the mandate requires all employees of private businesses to be vaccinated, and that employers keep a full record of their workers' vaccination statuses. But as some of you guys may know, the Supreme Court declared the other day that the mandation of the vaccine is unlawful. So, just saying, I'm bitter. I am very bitter. So, and even though some companies are not mandating it anymore, like even my company, I work in retail, they just like send us emails saying like, oh, it's not mandated in New York State no more, we're not requiring it. But we do ask for everybody to still wear their mask for the most part. But still, it's like all this trouble for what? But then there's still a lot of companies, private companies, like he said, that are like, you need to be vaccinated, and if not, then that's it. And same thing with schools. CUNY schools are not.
Now we gotta get boosted.
Yeah, booster shots.
Oh my god.
The freaking boost. I don't want the boost. I don't. I've been saying that since freaking 4 months ago, Diablo. And then just continuing. Also, his response to COVID is that he just doesn't plan to shut the city down, especially during the holiday. Right when he became mayor, that's when the little COVID went into the air again, the Omicron, whatever it's called, and everybody and their moms got it. Ariana is a witness. So he had to start his first term as mayor dealing with the COVID cases, and there's so many of them. It was like really, really high. And his response was he wasn't going to shut down the city, that the city can't afford it, and he has like a $5 billion budget to work with this year in terms of COVID, getting everything back together, the city running, and even like working with the education and the police department, so he plans to, what I read, quote unquote, was that he plans to just live through it and like basically try to make COVID like a part of our life in a way, like just like how the flu is, we know when flu season's coming, we know what to avoid, we know to get our shots, that's it. So he's trying to keep it like that and just try to keep it as organized as possible. Yeah, so even though he says that he wants to only have it mandated for the private companies here in the city, the ultimate decision, regardless of the Supreme Court, is still up to the state, meaning the governor. So he had stated that he was just going to leave that to Kathy Hochul because she is the governor. And as of what we know right now is what?
Yeah, so Kathy made it a policy that for all CUNY students, I don't know for other like establishments, but for all.
Yeah, but it's just for education right now. She was talking about.
Oh, education, you have to be vaccinated to go in person and have a booster if you're eligible. Yeah. So I'm getting my booster shot because I want to graduate in 4 months, and we have to get it before March 1st. So, and
I have to check my CUNY website now and see if I have to get it, because I just uploaded my
vaccine card.
Yeah, and you know what? They were asking me to get the Excelsior pass, which I like heard about but I didn't know about. So I got it in the Apple Wallet, guys. And it says that my vaccine expires
Yeah.
March 31st at 11:59.
I have the same app. Yeah, mine expires in April.
That means what? I have to get the vaccine again?
That's what I think. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm gonna get boosted, y'all. Didn't want this, but
yeah, it is what it is at this point.
yeah.
So, any final thoughts of what you have to say?
I'm looking forward to like see, what Eric Adams accomplishes as New York City mayor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
His term just started.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll have more to say following in season 4 because it's only been 28 days. Yeah. Hasn't even been a full month yet. But he is going to get a huge evaluation after 100 days of being in office.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll keep you tuned with that. And that, guys, that's Eric Adams. Just gave you the breakdown. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. New listeners, hope you guys liked us enough to maybe come again. Not, I don't know. Come again. Anyways. But yeah, guys, we'll catch you guys next week. And yeah, stay safe. Peace.